Caution: the following story contains heavy violence, blood, some language, and themes of war. If you're under 13, you probably shouldn't listen to this story, but for everyone else, enjoy. Chapter 1: A cult is born onto the Pony Kingdom. Within the kingdom of Equestria, a benevolent monarchy on a planet called Aquis, there was a noble family. They were known as the Field family. The Field family consisted of a couple, Snakefield and Frozen Gold. Snakefield is an animal keeper, specializing in serpents. He is a bright green unicorn with a gray mane and tail. It was short and scruffy, with a snake as his cutie mark. Then Frozen Gold, on the other hand, is an earth pony originally coming from another kingdom, known as Ponyland. Ponyland is an ancient kingdom comprising of where ponies originally came from. Frozen Gold's job was an ice cream mare, selling ice cream to fillies and colts. She had a beautiful golden coat with a long white and gold mane and a big tail. Her cutie mark were ice cubes with a gold bar inside of it. There was another member of the family in the Field household, however, Snake's father, Nuclear Field. Nuclear Field was a dark-coated and also gray-made, having almost the exact type of mane style as his sons. He is well known throughout Equestria for inventing ways to use chemicals in the Royal Army when he was younger. He's been studying chemicals since his colthood, hence his cutie mark, a nuclear symbol. But Nuclear is way older now, retired, and spends most of his time looking at old tapes with him and Celestia discussing the use of said chemicals. The Field family was a happy family, though. Even though Nuclear seems sad, that is only because his wife died long ago. Snake's mother died at the time he was born. Nuclear hasn't been that happy, except when he's in the company of his son and daughter-in-law. He is the most happy now than he's been in decades, however. Frozen Gold is pregnant. Nuclear Field was happy that he finally gets a grandson. The three nobles sat in their chairs at the fireplace. The fireplace having a portrait of Her Majesty, Princess Celestia, above the fireplace. They watched the fireplace. Dad, I'm so happy that you're happy again. It always seemed so sad when I was younger. Frozen Gold snuggled with her husband. Nuclear smiled and nodded. Snake's stomach started rumbling. He was hungry. He goes into the fridge to get something that ponies don't usually eat. Meat. Snake, Nuclear, and their ancestors were Shuthavars. A Shuthavar is a unicorn that hails from Persia. That being Persia with a U and two R's instead of with an E and one R. Shuthavars are omnivores, as opposed to herbivores like your average pony like Frozen. You can tell a Shuthavar from a regular unicorn by looking at their teeth. A Shuthavar's teeth is razor sharp. A herbivorous unicorn has normal pony teeth. Persia was its independent nation for a long time until the kingdom of Wingbardy conquered it a few years ago, in the ongoing scramble for Zubrika. But back to the Fields themselves. Frozen Gold is 7 months pregnant. 7 months, the Fields were happy with life. Celestia finally set the moon that night, and Fields went to sleep that night. 2 months later, Frozen gave birth to her baby, accompanied by her husband. The baby was a colt with a white mane and a dark green coat. What to call him? Frozen and Snake wondered for a while what to call their baby. Snake looked at a rack of magazines, picked one up, and looked into it. Well, I honestly have no idea how colts and fillies are named. Well, I assume it's the first thing to see. How about Comic? Comic feed.
That's a nice name, dear. But don't imply the first thing your father saw was a snake.
Snake laughed, and they took Comic home. Nuclear held his grandson and hugged him lightly. Snake got his son into a crib, and Comic was raised under the influence of Celestia being a great and divine and righteous ruler. Being a noble family, the Field family were very loyal to Celestia. 3 years later, he gained a sister. Train station. The two ponies played with each other, and Comic guarded Train with his life. Train ended up being a Pegasus. She had a poofy yellow mane and a cyan coat. At first, Comic was placed in normal primary school with his sister. However, that changed when he turned 10 years old. Mommy, why do I gotta change schools?
Dearie, you're a unicorn, born into a noble family in the city of Carolat. The school for gifted unicorns is perfect for you.
What about Train?
She'll remain in primary school. We've talked about her going to school in Cloudsdale, but she told me she wants to be a train conductor, which isn't exactly a Pegasus thing, you know?
But I don't even have my cutie mark yet.
You'll get when you're ready.
Alright, I love you, Mommy.
Love you too.
Comic leaves to the school for gifted unicorns. He goes by the academy and goes into the classroom. Before him is Princess Celestia, the sovereign of all Equestria. He bows to her. Silly colt, you don't have to do that. In this academy, I am your teacher first and princess second. Sit up front and we'll begin class. Comic sits next to a purple unicorn. Hello, my name is Twilight Sparkle. What's yours? Comic Field. Do you like books? I'm interested in becoming a writer when I'm older, so yes. Oh, nice. I just love reading. I love studying. I'm Celestia's brightest pupil. Well, I come from nobility. I hope I can be happy in this school. Trust me, you will be. So, Twilight and Comic nod at each other and faced to the board. As Celestia started teaching, Comic Field was taught many feats of magical ability. Comic paid attention hard. Once class was dismissed, Twilight and Comic went into the library to study. So, Comic, this is a great place to study magic, and the history of Equestria, which you probably already know about being nobility. Actually, I don't know as much on the history of Equestria. What I do know is that Celestia is our sovereign and our princess, so she will be the one to ask for help. So studying history will be pretty cool. So, how about this one, the Mare and the Moon? That sounds interesting. Princess Celestia says it's an old ponytail, but before Twilight could even complete her sentence, Comic picked the book up. If Her Majesty says it's not a real history, then it's not a real history. Probably some children's novel like Matilda or Reading Eggs and Carrots. You're very loyal to the princess, aren't you? Of course. My father told me that for generations, since the Field family moved from Persia centuries ago, we've been absolutely loyal to the princess. No questions asked. Because our princess is our protector. Protector of Equestria and its dominions. Even monarchs can be wrong sometimes, though. I mean, I have a sneaky suspicion that this might be real. Twilight just gives a kind face. Oh, you're serious? Hold on, let me laugh even harder. Twilight just rolls her eyes. Even monarchs are rolling sometimes. You're a funny feeling, Twilight. Okay, Comic, well, we have this spell book based off of what Starsroll the Beard had created. It can be hard to master these spells. Comic and Twilight studied it, along with studying the other spell books. Comic only really got used to telekinesis and laser magic, but this is his first time, so it makes sense. However, Twilight didn't really consider Comic that much of a friend. Not that much anyway. As Twilight was more into just studying, she saw Comic as like a study partner more than a friend. But he was the closest anyway, aside from her parents and her brother. The next day, Comic came into his class happily. Good morning, Celestia. He entered the class and sat next to Twilight. He looked at her and noticed her cutie mark. Huh, nice cutie mark. Study partner. What'd you do to earn it? I hatched a dragon, his name is Spike, and here he is, next to me. Spike is just sucking on his tail. Twilight and Comic listened to Celestia's lecture, and at the end of class, Twilight and Comic went into the study again. Did you hear the news? I heard that Wingbardy is invading Abyssinia in a part of the scramble for Zebraca. Oh yeah, my mommy told me about that. It's kinda scary. The Griffins are after that continent of Zebraca, taking advantage of all those poor zebra. Anyway, let's get to studying. They began studying more spells. Comic was pretty good at laser beaming attacks, but still had a bit of trouble in telekinesis. However, Comic did well at studying history, specifically the feud between Wingbardy and Abyssinia, as it is likely he'll receive an essay about it in light of the recent invasion. His suspicions were correct, because on Friday, he received it. Comic proceeded to write a 4-page essay on this project. Celestia is really impressed by it, especially how Comic was only 10 years old, and then he felt his flank get all sparkly. Comic, you received your cutie mark! Comic looked at his flank, and it was an orange notebook and pencil. Guess I'll become a good raider after all then. I can't wait to tell Mommy about my cutie mark. He went home and showed his family, and they were quite proud of him. Hey Mommy, Daddy, Grandpa, how'd you get your cutie marks? Oh, I was just a child. I noticed this python had a bleeding tail, so I took it home and took care of it. Thus, I earned my cutie mark.
I earned mine from serving this golden ice cream. As you may know, as I serve it to you and your sister all the time. It tastes heavenly.
I earned my cutie mark, Sonny, from mixing chemicals together, discovering new elements and the such. Well, that's really cool. Wonder when Train's gonna earn hers. Hopefully soon. I don't want her to be called a flanked by some entitled child.
Ugh, I know. Fellow nobles think they can just push ponies around, especially that spoiled milk bitch. Pardon my language.
No, hun. Bitch is a good way to describe her. She is insufferable. I'm glad we sent Comic to a unicorn school instead of a private school for snobs. Anyway, go and play comic. Your future is soon. Snake was correct. Throughout the years of Comic Field going to the School of Gifted Unicorns and studying with Twily, by age 13 he mastered beaming, and by 16 telekinesis. Of course he mastered minor spells such as being able to walk on Cloudsdale clouds like a Pegasus or to turn things into teacups. However, by age 17, Twilight had already graduated. Comic no longer had a studying partner, as his sister was more interested in becoming a train conductor, hence her cutie mark, which is that of a steam locomotive. Comic was alone when he studied, but he understood. Twilight chooses his books over friends. However, Comic tried pulling a history book, and it unearthed a secret room. It was cold, gray, and stone, filled with books that might be even older than Equestria herself. And at the end of the stone cold hallway, he found a book of dark magic. Comic was told that dark magic was a bad thing, but he was as curious as an Abyssinian, so he checked it out. It contained many dark spells, such as necromancy, fatal spells, and spells designated to torture and kill. Comic was sickened, but also morbidly interested. Comic snuck it into his satchel and closed the secret door. He goes out of the library to see a mad Celestia. "Where were you, young colt? You were supposed to be home 30 minutes ago." "I got a hay burger. I was hungry, and I didn't realize how hungry I was, so I ate a few." He felt devastated to lie at his soul protector, but he needed to, or else his new study will be confiscated. He left and told his parents and grandfather the same thing. When they believed him, he hadn't been so relieved since the Abyssinians won against the Wingbardians a year after the invasion. When Comic turned 18, he graduated from the academy, and now prepared to go off on adventures throughout Equestria, writing books of many genres. From comic books to novels, to the history of what happened during the Wingbardian invasion in Abyssinia, which had ended in the humiliation in Zebrica, and about how they're gearing up for a war with Falcarian Kingdom. Comic described the Wingbardian Parliament as a bunch of warmongers, bent on surpassing the Griffonian Empire. But anyway, it was now time for Comic to go on his own little quests. Chapter 2, The Start of a Stallion's Adulthood. Comic now lives in a small cottage on the outskirts of Camelot. He makes books, and has become very successful. Comic did not forget about the Dark Magic book. Comic knew the basics of dark magic, but never expressed it. Equestria's majority population had no idea the dark magic book even existed, or even dark magic as a concept. Comic went into the city and picked up a newspaper. The Falcor War. Wingbar already goes to war with the Falcorian Queendom. I knew it! I knew this was gonna happen! Those Wingbardian warmongers don't give up, do they? Griffonia is always at war with each other. Comic continues on. Twilight rushes past him. "Oh, hey, Twilight," and she's gone. First time I've seen her in a while, but still. He continued on the path. I think you should travel to a smaller town. How about Ponyville? Comic goes to Ponyville in their Sugar Cube Quarter. "I'd like a Danish, please." The pink pony who was at the corner smiled and gave Comic the Danish. He gave her the bits and ate it. Comic sat on a small bench. Wonder what Twilight was running about. Probably nothing. He says, he sees a carriage in the sky with Twilight in it. Wonder what she's doing up there. Probably here to study books or something. That filly loved to study. Actually, I'm interested to see their library too, actually. Comic got up and went to the library and studies of the history of Ponyville. He read of the Apple family, famous for their apples, and about the influence Ponyville has for the industry of Equestria. Comic had then realized something. Twilight was getting prepared for the Summer Sun celebration. It was going to happen next morning at around 5 a.m. The princess will raise the sun. Later, at around 4:50 in the morning, Comic was attending the ceremony. In the background, no one noticed him. Expecting the princess, he instead saw a huge jet black alicorn who called herself Nightmare Moon. She appeared, and Comic was terrified, so he quickly sprinted out and went out of Ponyville and into Cloudsdale. Who is that? Was that the Mare in the Moon? But Celestia said she was a fake. How could Her Majesty lie to one of her most loyal nobles? Now that evil bitch is gonna start a coup, okay, gonna think. What's the best nation to run off to? Yakaks? No, too cold. Griffonian Empire? No, the Emperor's too incompetent. Saudi Arabia is beautiful, but it's also on the verge of civil war. Plus, there's some weird Storm King stuff happening in Zebrica. Most nations lost their colonies except Wingbardian and a couple others. And of all the nations on the quiz, I'm not going to Wingbardian. I want to stay in Equestria, but that weird alicorn. Are you okay? Yeah, who are you? I'm Mistyfield. Hey, your last name is the same as mine. Yeah, what's your first? Comic? Hey, nice, you're that writer. Of course. You're a little handsome. Let's go get something to eat. Well, Equestria is on the verge of totalitarianism. Might well go on a date beforehand, huh? That's funny. Let's go. Comic and Misty had a good date. Misty was a Pegasus, with a mist-colored mane and a bright green coat. It was revealed that she is one-eighth Shadhavar, while Comic was a full-blooded one. Anyway, Comic returned to Ponyville later, and sees Twilight and her friends. Hey Twilight, it's been a while. Friends? Never thought I'd see you with those. Oh yeah. I was taught the magic of friendship before defeating Nightmare Moon, and this replying was 8 years in the making. I told you so. Comic just rolled his eyes. But anyway, Twilight, now that you're aware of friendship is magic, wanna be friends again? I mean, I miss our studying sessions, and I have to thank you for preventing that Nightmare Moon slut from taking over. Well, Comic, once we defeated her, she became Luna, the sister of Celestia. Huh, no idea she had one. That's cool. Now I have 2 monarchs. Oh, thanks a lot. Twilight and, who?
Pinkie Pie.
Rainbow Dash. Applejack.
Flourishing.
Where are you? Darling, he bought the English for me. Well, technically it wasn't for me, because Mr. and Mrs. Kid created the sweets. But I stole it to him, so technically it was for me.
Anyway, see you tomorrow, Twilight. Once in a while, Twilight and Comic would hang out, but not as much as Comic and Misty. They were in love. And all started from Comic in fear, huh? Even now that he has a date and reconnected with Twilight, no one but Comic knew of the book until a dark magic is missing, Your Majesty.
What?
I thought I hid those centuries ago. Hopefully someone will recover them. The royal guard saluted Celestia and departed from the royal court. Meanwhile, where Comic was, he was just reading the book with Misty. A book, not the book, you know. Misty looks at Comic and smiles. Hey, Comic, guess what? What? I'm pregnant. That's great! The field nobility shall continue. What will you name the child? Well, your name's Comic. How about manga? You mean those comics from Japan? Sure. Yes, that is right. Comic will have his own child. He told his parents and his grandfather about it, and they were just as excited, along with his sister, who was a little jealous but still happy. However, Comic still yet to tell anyone of the book. He kept studying it, learning the dark arts of the book. He felt himself get more violent than he's used to. However, he was still fine, he thought, since he knew he wasn't a violent pony, right? Around 9 months later, Manga was born. He was a cyan colored with jet black hair. He was a unicorn like his father. Once the child was born, it was time for Comic and Misty to get married, so they arranged a marriage. The marriage was attended by all of Comic and Misty's friends and family. The main 6 arrived last minute. Sorry, Comic, we got done with our brother's wedding. It was a nightmare. We got attacked by changelings. It's fine. He matters more to you than I do anyway. You had your wedding it's the same day? That's weird. Yeah, I wasn't really aware your brother's getting married. I never really knew the guy, so I wasn't invited. Comic and Misty's wedding was definitely lower scaled than the royal wedding between Shining and Cadence, but still, it was lovely. Chapter 3, The Turning Point. About 8 years passed, and Comic wasn't really important what the main 6 was doing. He and Twilight only really hung out to study. He mostly continued writing books, taking care of his family, and studying. Weirdly enough, 8 years passed and still no one is aware of the Dark Magic book. Comic has had that dusty thing for about 10 years now, yet it still hasn't been touched by anyone but him. Comic always buries it to make sure no one lays their eyes on it. As for what happens throughout these 8 years, basically the events of the main 6, such as Tirek, Starlight, Cozy Glow, and the school, and all that happens, with Comic watching from the sidelines. However, this all changed after the retirement of Celestia and Luna. While I am retired, Twilight, I must tell you something important. About 10 years ago, a dark magic book I've hidden for centuries has been missing. If you recover it from me, I will destroy it. I and Luna will be most grateful. I do have one lesser request. Equestria, under my rule, has always been ruled absolutely by me. But the thing is that I'm completely much a god, and you are only an immortal sent by me. I want you to create an equestrian parliament after we're done with this meeting and we're done with your coronation. So that, just in case Equestria ever falls into tyranny. Twilight agrees. This was a secret meeting held in between the events of Celestia's retirement and Twilight's coronation. After she was crown princess of Equestria, Twilight set up the Equestrian Council of Friendship and the Equestrian Parliament. She now knows that she cannot rule Equestria alone, so she decided a prime minister can help, but she still had plenty of power. Therefore, Equestria is now a semi-constitutional monarchy. A month after Twilight's reign began, Comic, his wife, and his son are invited to a big dinner hosted by Pinkie Pie to celebrate the 1-month anniversary of her coronation. Comic and his family are invited because they were nobility, and Comic's writing has become quite popular. This is nice, Danny. Thanks, son. Comic began having a furious headache, and voices of violence are in his head. He shakes his head and puffs his nose. Must mean nothing. The ponies hear a crash, including Pinkie Pie, who was wearing a fake mustache, and a weird creature came from the window. The beast stood on 2 legs, had hands like Spike, but was dressed in all black. It resembled a primate? A monkey, perhaps. It also had a bladed weapon and ran towards the princess and was trying to stab her. Before it could, Comic's eyes went purple. He picked up a fork with his telekinesis and pinned the primate down, and proceeded to repeatedly stab it. Multiple times, even slashing one of its eyes out. Blood was all over Comic and the creature. Everyone looked in shock, and Twilight went to Comic. Comicfield, you saved me. I did? Oh, I did. That was a little violent, though. Are you okay? Oh, yeah, just, I'm a monarchist, and I don't want you to, die. Oh, good. Hey, since you killed that assassin, would you like me to grant you the title of a personal guard? Really? That'd be swell, Twilight. So she did. Comic was officially the personal guard of her. He and his family moved to Camelot Castle. His family was the most proud of him. Comic pondered what that assassin was all about, though. An attempted assassination on the monarch hasn't happened in all of equestrian history. It was also perhaps one of the most shocking things to have happened in that castle in centuries. Comic then proceeded to encourage Twilight to mobilize the Equestrian military, just in case, for Equestria may be at war again, at war with a force that isn't even from Equus itself. Twilight agrees with its decision, and she does so. Throughout his life, Comic has seen non-stop happiness throughout Equestria. So what happened? What are these weird primate things? He thinks something or some pony, maybe not even a pony, is after Equestria. But what? Who would want Equestria gone? He pledges to find out, but for now, Comic has the dark magic down in his head to prepare him for this invading force. Comic comes to his room, finished with his newest book, to his son. Manga is happy to see his father. Manga tells Comic that first time he saw his mother, she was styling her mane in the bathroom. Comic and Manga want to surprise her, so they rush into the bathroom to see something mortifying. They saw Misty, or worse yet, Misty's corpse. Her lifeless corpse was hung from a noose. Comic at first thinks it was a suicide, and he and Manga start to weep. But then he notices bruises and cuts all over her face and her body. This wasn't a suicide, but a murder. Comic vows to get revenge on whoever killed his wife. Comic tells his family about the ordeal. They all feel bad for him, and Comic announces he'll take a week off. The entire week, Comic and Manga hang out and try to cope with the death of their loved one. Comic buried Misty in the royal graveyard. Twilight lets Comic take the week off. She is shocked and horrified of what happened as much as her guard. Manga, I still can't believe it happened, son. But don't you worry. I love you. I loved her, and I will find and kill that sick son of a bitch. Anyone who thinks they can do that to an innocent pony is a real piece of shit. His son replied with only a nod. He could hardly even speak after these events. Pinkie walked into Comic's room with a cake.
Hey, Comic! I know you're having a tough time. Make some cake. Want some? I made it to help you feel better.
It was a rich, dark chocolate cake with cocoa beans straight from Zebraca. It was rich and delicious. Comic and Manga had some, but they still hardly felt better. They thanked Pinkie anyway, and she left, and Comic and Manga just hugged. When the week was over, Comic could finally begin his job with Twilight. He was still mourning, but he couldn't let that get in the way of his loyalty and devotion to Her Majesty. He stood alongside her. Spike comes into the hall. Ah, my friendship ambassador. Nice to see you. What'd you do this time? Spike has a very scared but firm look on his face.
Hey, Twilight. So I was with the Hippogrifian Royal Navy, yeah? We were sailing through around the nations of our alliance. Then we saw an island off the coast of Equestria. A huge one. It's never been seen before. It's like it emerged out of nowhere.
How did Celestia's name to just a random island appear out of nowhere? What's happening, Spike?
Well, as soon as I reached the shore, a giant wall surrounded us, and when we came close, they shot at us. They shouted, "Get out of here, pony scum!" They resembled the primate thing that tried to kill you.
Your Majesty, it is a clear act of aggression towards Equestria. We must act now. If we do, this whole thing can be solved once and for all. Please, comic or friend, just call me Twilight, but you're right. I must declare war. Spike, what do you know what they call themselves?
Well, from what I got from the sign, it said you are now entering the sovereign region of the Dramatic Syndicate. All non-humans turn back. They call themselves the Dramatic Syndicate. As for the name of the island, I don't really know.
Well, I say we name it something short and simple, for it won't be on the map long. I will sink that fucking island into the ocean. How about Anti-Equestria? Anti-Equestria it is. I must create a speech and an official declaration of war against them. Chapter 4 War Against the Syndicate. Twilight came to make an announcement. Carolot citizens must come to the castle. Twilight addressed her subjects clearly, Rainbow and the Wonderbolts behind her, along with many royal guards with Comic to her right and Spike to her left. Ponies of Equestria, I must address you differently to my usual happy and dorky self. An act of aggression by this terrorist organization known as the Dramatic Syndicate has done an act of aggression against Equestria and its allies. On an island that appeared off the coast of Equestria, they sent an assassin to kill me. They then proceeded to threaten us and shoot at a Hippogrifian ship. Queen Novo is outraged by this. We must get our alliance together and make our first act of warfare together. The Kingdom of Equestria, the Crystal Empire, the Commonwealth of New Maryland, Porter Caballo, Kingdom of Yakakistan, Republic of Griffinstone, the Kingdom of Hippogriphia, the United Dragon Isles, and the Changeling Kingdom must act together against the aggressors. My guard Comic has made the right idea to mobilize the military. This is war. Equestria will emerge victorious. She gave her speech, as everyone in Union shouts glory to Equestria. The ponies cheer, they respected their princess well. She has done her job well. Comic decides to join the Equestrian army as a soldier. He thinks that it might have been them that killed his wife. Meanwhile, within the syndicate...
My general, they did it. They declared war on us. Initiate Phase 2.
Aldous presses a button, and out comes more human soldiers.
What do we do next, General? Go for our enemies and their allies. They will learn not to mess with me.
Aldous Slate gives a good smirk.
I think it's time we give them what they deserve. You. Yes, General? How long did you know that my father was dead? Pardon? How long did you find out he was dead before you told me? A week. Please. I'm sorry. Rest in hell. Dump the body. I'll meet you over there.
Back in Equestria, about 4 months later, he was finished with basic training and now was assigned to the front lines. To protect the Equestrian coast, they saw a few ships, which they sunk. General Shining Armor addressed his troops. Okay, guys, I've heard some rumors that the Syndicate signed a treaty with Wingbody and Stalliongrad. Chances are that we are at an all-out Equus war now. I've sent some ponies at the front lines. Are you ready to make a great offensive towards the anti-Equestrian island? Yeah! They get into their ships and blast through the wall. They get a little into the island, but are pushed back. A few ponies made it, but are all captured or killed. It was a great defeat for Equestria. Damn. Okay, Private Comic. You, Parts, and Century will be assigned to New Maryland. The Wingbardian fascists might be taking their marks towards it. Don't let me down, Private. Comic saluted his general. He, Parts, and Century are all sent to New Maryland. Hey, Parts, your entire title is Private Parts. Kind of funny. And Century's first name is Flash. If you combine those together, it's Flash Private Parts. They all just roll their eyes. What? We're about to go to the front lines in war. Might as well brighten the mood a little, right? You have a point there, Comic. They arrive, and Ramadash is there as a general. Okay, my division. We must investigate the situation with Wingbardy. We will cross the border peacefully to see if the treaty already happened. Comic, Parts, and Flash agree to this. Rainbow leads the soldiers to Carthan, the capital, to investigate this. They knock on the parliament door, and they go into Biccolini's office. Biccolini looks at them with a sharp eye. Well, look at what we got to hear. What do you weak ponies want? Are you working with the Dramatic Syndicate? Answer me, fascist scum. Biccolini looked to the side for a second and chuckled. What the? Ha ha! They are stupid. They actually went against us too. Simply because we have a king. That is one thing we have in common, hominist snowflakes, is that your syndicate is both, your and my enemies. But if you came expecting an alliance, then that is a big fat to no. We do not associate with harmonic dumbasses. Biccolini just laughed at the unit. They were understandably offended, but what do you expect from a fascist? They were relieved that New Maryland was safe from Wingbardy, for now at least. They went away, back to the motherland, to explain to Shining. Shining was relieved, but then thought about Stalliongrad. Stalliongrad has no king, queen, emperor, or monarch of any kind. What if they side with the Syndicate? You must go there as well. Fair enough. Comic, you guard Twilight. How about you prove yourself to the Royal Army as well? And try leading Flash and Parts yourself. Okay, I'll do it. Comic salutes General Dash, and they went to Stalliongrad. Chairman Altildia stood before them in the Supreme Soviet. Altildia spoke with a Russian-like accent. Privet. You ponies interested in joining us Stalliongrad, or what? Comic shook his head. Hell no. Celestia saves the princess. I want to ask him, are you associated with the Dramatic Syndicate? Altildia looked offended at this question. What type of question is this? Of course not. They are against the Pony Nation. We are a nation of ponies too. We care about the ponies of Equestria too. We may be against the Counterlot government, but if ponies are in danger, then I care. You ask this because we're enemies? Why should we associate with such an organization? We do not associate with terrorists. Comic looked surprised but understood. Good point. Sorry to interrupt. Whatever you're doing. I don't know what goes up here in Stalliongrad, but what I do want to know is I respect your views on ponies of Equestria. At least you don't advocate for, I don't know, locking the royal family in a bunker or killing them or something fucked up like that. They exited the Supreme Soviet and went back to and explained everything. And it's just us and the Syndicate. Good. All the easier to destroy it. Usually I wouldn't advocate for something like that, but after some Pegasi flew over the island, we noticed that there are very little settlements at all. No children. Hell, barely any women. It's not a civilization, it's a terrorist hideout. One that must be destroyed. However, the results of the war seemed tricky. As many dramatic terrorists attacked and bombed Equestria and its allies, around 2 months later, the Wonderbolts, the Royal Navy, and the Army got ready to invade the island again. This time successful. With Twilight by his side, Comic shall help destroy the Syndicate once and for all. With air and naval superiority, they attacked the island once again. This time, their leader, Aldous Slate, came out.
Congratulations. You managed to get past our first line of defense.
Aldous chuckled, but Comic remained furious. Who the fuck are you, and why did you try to kill our princess? Answer now, or else I will skin you alive.
Skin me alive? Really? You need to be more original. But where are my manners? I am Aldous Slate, general of this army. You may have a few questions. I know. First, what are we? Well, we're humans, if you looked at us. I've studied you, Twilight. You've seen us before, right?
Indeed. Twilight thought about for a second and remembered. It'd been a while, but around 10 years ago she did go through a human's portal and saw humans. I've seen humans before. Haven't seen them in a long time, though. Not since the Sirens. How's it been, General Aldo Slate?
Not much. Just normal stuff. Not really relevant to what is going on now. Anyways, remember that little assassin? He was my father. His name was Jonathan Slate. The reason I tried to kill Twilight, because, well, she's a monarch. Monarchs were evil. My world, monarchs have done terrible things. I didn't know. So I go around the universe and through time, killing monarchs. On my planet, Earth, I set up this guy to overthrow the Shah of this country called Iran. I didn't expect it to go as downhill as I anticipated. But I had good intentions with it. That was me. And I destroyed the machine that led me back in time to make sure nobody used it again. As for your wife, Comic,
Comic's eyes widened.
that was me. I killed her. You killed my father, so I killed your wife.
Comic was devastated. He got pissed and turned to the soldiers. Retreat. What? I said fucking retreat. They went off the island. Then they went back to Canterlot, and Comic had a full-on mental breakdown. He was screaming, overwhelmed, and the only thing that calmed him down was his son who walked in. He calmed him down a little at the sight of his son. What's wrong, Daddy? I know who killed your mother. He said so many terrible things about Princess. I'll fucking mutilate him. Daddy, I'm scared. I'm sorry, son. Go play in your room. I have to research something. Comic went into Twilight's room. The mirror. When do you need it for, Comic? The mirror portal that leads to Aldous' dimension. I need it. I need to research about this world's monarchies and cultures. Well, who will protect me? The Prime Minister. Page Rider. Twilight nodded. Page Rider was a brown earth pony stallion, a colleague at Comic Field in his writing. He got into politics and became the third Prime Minister of Equestria after a short provisional term of Spike and Jet Set as the first and second. Comic calls Page Rider and tells him about it. Twilight tells him where the mirror is kept, and he departs. Page Rider comes through the door. Ah, my Prime Minister. I haven't seen you since that party. I've only really seen you through your speeches. Anyway, you'll protect me, right?
Of course, Your Majesty.
Please call me Twilight. We're friends.
Okay then, Twilight, can I tell you something? I also think that this handling of the war is a bit violent. Can't we do it through more peaceful measures? Like, what if we mess something up and, I don't know, things go downhill? Like, what if there's like an ulterior motive behind this person?
I appreciate your promotion of Harmony, Page, but they killed an innocent wife and mother. They tried to kill me. They said so many horrible things, and they killed so many. That is unforgivable.
Fine. Comic's been a bit violent lately, though. Do you think that's going to be a problem?
I'm sure he'll get over it eventually. I hope. Meanwhile, in the human world, ew, this body is so gross. What the hell even is this? This will take some getting used to. But anyway, I should get started. That looks like a school. Maybe they have some history books in there. He goes into the school and goes into the school library, and the human cheerily came to him. You're new here? I'll cut to the chase. I'm not a human. I come from Equestria. I'm here on a strictly business-only trip. I must know the history of your world's monarchs. I'm not here to start in a high school drama or anything. Sorry, that's what you expected. All right, then. You can look at that computer. It has Wikipedia and such. Go ahead, say as long as you need. I understand your world might be at stake for the umpteenth time. Nothing much happened here. It sounds real boring, to be honest. Anyway, I'll go use it. He went to the computer and researched all about the different kingdoms and empires of Earth. He researched for many hours until about 2 a.m. He printed out some certain revolutions and regicides and nodded. Aldous is wrong. There are some bad monarchs, but a lot of these guys sound like great symbols of their nations. Now to return to Equestria after I've got a good night's rest. Comet goes in this bag into a sleeping bag. Meanwhile, at his house, Aldous was there, disguised in a black robe, sensing and investigating Comic's house to find out his weaknesses. Then, he's sensing something. It was under the ground. Once he dug underground, he discovers the black magic book. After reading it, he knew everything. He smiled sadistically and took it back. The next day, Comic went back to Equestria and told Twilight everything about the books, and gave Twilight the list of regicides and abomination of monarchies in the human world. She was shocked especially at the Russian, French, and Persian ones. Him doing this to Earth's kings? He did all this? Perhaps. He may have not actually directly killed any of them, but my leading theory is that he led to these revolutionaries to their demise or abomination. Now we must strike back at them. They go back to the Germanic Syndicate space island. It is a similar situation. After the sacking, Aldous was there again. He laughed and looked at the princess and her guard. You killed so many people, even children. You're a monster. You are the scum of fucking Equus.
You're one to talk. Using black magic?
Twilight's eyes widen and then she squints at Comic. Black magic? Really? Do you really practice black magic, Comic?
Answer the princess. Now.
Look, I found that in a dungeon long time ago. I thought practicing it would benefit.
That's why you've been violent so lately? You've been practicing magic that is heresy to Celestia. Equestria. A charge capable of execution. How?
Well, Comic, it's in the hands of Aldous now. I'm sorry, there's nothing you can do.
I've read the minds of you already, and I know a little secret that the princess is hiding. Care to tell them? Twilight? What is he talking about?
Look, it was a while ago, about 5 years ago, I think. I went to visit the human world again. I went to the United States, Minnesota to be exact, and me and my friends of that world discovered this really weird guy. I think he called himself, like, Jin or something like that. This man at first was a charmer, I'll admit. He seduced me. He gave me this substance known as marijuana, and I did some of it. And it's a bit blurry, but I assume we had sex, or something like that. And the next morning he left, and I was impregnated. I went back to Equestria, and 9 months later I gave birth to twins in secret. I keep them in hiding because I don't want to tell Equestria about such a scandal. Only my friends know, and me, of course. I mother them in secret. Comic, when you don't see me around the castle or anywhere in Carolot or Ponyville that I would notice, that was why. They are a boy and a girl. I called them Sunshine and Moonlight, respectively. There, I told them, Aldous. I did. Are you happy now? Comic and Paige were surprised, but proud that Twilight has heirs in the first place. Twilight was surprised by this reaction, but relieved. Aldous just laughed.
Until we meet again, Comic.
He throws a smoke bomb, then disappears. I want to meet your heirs, Twilight. Rainbow Dash informed me that there will be a garrison division here to occupy this territory. They go back to Canterlot.
Hi, Deadpool here. Just interjecting in this little dramatic reading. But it's not even a dramatic reading. It's just reading a fan fiction. Get it right, you pilk drinker.
Chapter 5. The Heirs. Comic and Paige walk into the bunker. The bunker was upgraded with child-friendly decorations and toys. The two kids, Sunshine, a yellow-coated coat with an orange mane, and Moonlight, a blue-coated filly who looks kind of like Luna, but it was easy to distinguish the two, see Comic and Paige for the first time. Alicorn children, like Flurry. How interesting.
Interesting.
Mommy, who are these guys? Children, you know how Mommy is the Princess of Equestria? Well, Paige Rider is my elected Prime Minister. He was elected by the ponies of Equestria. He's the Earth Pony, the round one. And Comic is my guard. He's a green unicorn. So cool. It's time I reveal to the world about your existence. You always want to know what the outside world was like. Before we go, I'm curious, how old are you? We're 4, almost 5. Okay, then we should have a glorious 5th birthday party once that happens. They go out and reveal the twins to the world through a glorious speech. Twilight was skeptical, but the equestrians accepted and actually really liked the twins. They understood the situation completely and accepted Sunshine and Moonlight as heirs to the equestrian throne. Meanwhile, at Aldous' base...
I should have known. That's on me, I guess. Don't worry, General. We will kill the princess soon. You idiot, she's immortal. It'll take a while to research any spells in this book that can disable it. But with time, I can. If I can kill one god, I can kill another. We will think of something. I promise.
A couple months later, the party finally came, along with the expansion into the island of Anti-Equestria, but not much significance beyond that. Comic, Page, Twilight, and the main 6 were already there. Twilight, Comic, and Page had invited plenty of leaders around a quiz. This is great, huh, Ty? Yeah, indeed. Through the door comes the first guests, Yona and Prince Rutherford. Pinky was really excited to see them.
Hi guys.
Yak bring Yona, cause Yona like party.
You wanna want to know what a pony birthday is like?
Let me guess. A yak birthday party contains a lot of smashing.
How green pony know?
Green pony. I have a name, you know. Anyway, I don't know. Let me guess. The door opens. Shining Cadence and a 13-year-old Flurry walk through. Flurry had black streaks in her mane and wore black makeup and clothes. Hey, Twily, we've arrived. I'm curious to finally meet my niece and nephew.
Yeah, Flurry's been going through a bit of a phase.
It's not a phase, Mom. Black will soon be the color of the Crystal Empire when I succeed you and you die. Kinda like the new Flurry. Tell Flurry, what would you do if you captured Aldous Slate and boil him in oil after insulting his mere existence? I would order the Imperial Guard to serve him to you fried, knowing you're a Shadhivar and like fried foods. You'd love some meat, huh? All this while I play punk metal, and he will learn not to fuck with Equestria or the Crystal Empire. Wow, Flora, that's awesome! I'd be joyous to see that anti-monarchist terrorist scum. But my mom wants me to be happy and pretty and pink. And this is why some people support Sombra. Trust me, a Gothic Empire is a feature of the Crystal Empire.
Say Flurry, how'd you go and meet your cousins?
Sure, whatever, Mom.
Why are you encouraging this?
Because Flurry is badass! I mean, boiling people in oil? That's metal! And he does deserve what he's done. Thorax walks through the door. Hey guys, happy birthday, twins.
What's up, Thorax? How's it been?
Great, the changelings have truly embraced harmony. He sat at the table with the others. Where's Ocillus? Oh, she came too. She just ran over to Yona. You really raised the students to be great friends, huh? The door opens and Grandpa Gruff comes in with Gallus.
Hey guys, great to see you all. Grandpa Gruff, may I sit next to my friends?
Yeah, sure, whatever. As Gallus goes, Gruff sits at a chair. Hey, President Gruff, so you're still missing that idol, huh? Indeed. From Wingbody to the Empire to Aquilia, Griffins try to find it in Griffinstone. It's annoying. So, no kingdom still, huh? Gah, whatever. I can't wait for there to be at least other Griffins here. The door opens and Ember and Smolder come through.
Hey, Ember and Smolder.
Hey, Spike. Man, you decorated this place great. It's cool. She sat down and Smolder went with the rest of her friends and started talking about their cultures. Hey, is Samar gonna be here? Shit! I'm gonna call him quickly. Sorry. Beep, 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 beep. Yeah, he's on his way. Sorry.
It's alright.
Queen Novo and Silverstream walk through.
Wow, I'm really in a birthday party? This is so cool. Hey, my friends are over there. I'll go hang out with them.
And finally, Sandbar walked through. Me too! He was right behind her. They go over to the rest of the Student 6 and start talking while Novo sits with her diplomatic allies. It's been a while, Queen Novo. Yes, sorry about that. Hippogriphia is, a relatively new nation. I had to rebuild the industrial stuff and the buildings, the agriculture, economy, all that stuff. But now I'm as free as a bird. The guests are communicating well with each other when another guest arrived. Ark and Eros the 7th and the Emperor Griffonia, Grover the 6th, arrived. Oh, it's you. Oh, it's a 4-year-old emperor. Not gonna lie, he's the most adorable thing. Boreas blesses your heirs, Twilight. Grover, go play with the kids over there. Okay, Mr. Arkin. Ah, this is beautiful, is it not? The food, the drinks, the atmosphere. Oh, it's great. A couple minutes later, King Garibald the Taliniel III and his Prime Minister, Biccolini, of Wingbody come. Trust me, I didn't want to blink him, but the Wingbodian constitution says he has to attend with me ever since he took over and he spread this fascism thing over. When can I get to the wine? It's in the back. Drink as much as you want. King Morissette of Aqualia is coming in a second as well. He arrived with his daughter, Vivine. Did we miss anything? I brought a baguette. Looks delicious. Only a couple more left. From the distance they hear Flurry Heart. You stupid fascist asshole. You drank so much wine you barfed all over the fucking table. Mom, can you help?
I got dear.
While this is happening, River Swirl, the River Republic, and Ibn Saddle of Saddle Arabia, who is in a hospital bed, arrived. Hey, River Swirl! It's not always nice to see our Eastern brothers and sisters. Also, Ibn, what happened?
Just the civil war. I will be fine. Just bleeding. Also remember, I don't drink alcohol, so no wine.
I've got a good feeling of who started that civil war. Aldwis.
Well, that's the main rumor, anyway.
The Wehrmacht terrorists have attacked the River Republic as well. We must be careful.
Then Altildia, the chairman of Stalingrad, walks in. Hey, you weren't invited! Hey, I heard there was party, so I want you to come. Besides, I won't spread communism here or anything. Here, have some vodka. I'll trust you. Oh, everyone, including one unexpected guest, is here, except Celestia and Luna. After a few minutes of talking about the ongoing situation, Starlight came into the room from upstairs.
Hey guys. Oh, Tidia. It's been a while. This is awkward.
Whatever. It's not time to talk about past. They continue talking about it until Celestia and Luna finally arrive. It's about time! Nice to finally see you again, Celestia. You stole that book, now it's in the hands of an enemy. Look, I'm easy to forgive, but I want that book destroyed as soon as possible. Anyway, it's time for the true party to begin. They have cake and plenty of presents for Sunshine and Moonlight, including toys and baby-proofed artifacts from each culture. When the party ended, everyone was happy and everyone had their plans to completely blitzkrieg through Anti-Equestria and the Dramatic Syndicate. This was an amazing day, and hell, it been Adele recovered in the end. Thanks, Mommy. I love the party. They then go to bed, and tomorrow at dawn, they strike. Chapter 6, Comics Rising. Comic and the others awaken. The other attendees of the party had already left and put their armies near the Sea of the Syndicate. Comic gets a division together. It was time. Comic would finally put this to rest. He was going to have vengeance for what Aldous did to his nation, his princess, his wife, and his dignity. Comic and his comrades are put on the beaches, along with the soldiers of the other nations. Let's do this. One Aquis, one people. Cannons blast, destroying the walls. Aldous looks and chuckles.
You really think you can beat me? Not a chance. Your wife couldn't even beat me.
Charge! The soldiers fight against the dramatic soldiers. Comic mainly focusing on Aldous. They occupy much of the island. Aldous panics and sneakily escapes to his tower. Comic and his other units just start tearing apart through the enemies, ripping and tearing, blood completely covering Comic Field. He couldn't even speak. He was that angry. He truly wanted revenge. Some other soldiers distanced themselves when Comic asked to not be caught in the crossfire. In the no man's land, there was nothing but Aquis soldiers with blood on them and the corpses of the enemies. Comic finally calms down and gives a new order. Occupy this island completely. Leave no stone unturned. Not one step behind. We will find that bastard that killed that tried to destroy our nations. And I'll fucking murder him. They go forward, each brigade trying to find him, until they eventually reach the tower. Comic, we found it. Finally. Now to destroy that damn book. Put him down and finally end this mess once and for all. Move out! They go to the tower and attack many guards. Comic finds the dark magic book on a pedestal, guarded. Comic and the others take out the guards, and Comic grabs the book. Now to destroy what corrupted me into this monster I've become. I've become a foreshadow of myself. So violent, so merciless. If I finally destroy this book, then the darkness that plagues Equestria in secret will finally go away. Together! Comic holds up the book, and the other ponies destroy it. Black magic exiting Comic's horn and vanishing away. Comic looks at his troops and smiles happily. We will win this war. The others cheer as Comic enters Aldous' office, and Aldous looks at him.
Looks like you've destroyed the book. Good on you. But now, that means you're powerless. I've created a copy of it that my soldiers made. Now, I have the power, and you don't.
Comic looks at Aldous. You may have that evil magic of the Black Book, but you don't understand that that book corrupts people. Makes them completely cuckoo insane. And despite having an army, I have an army too. And you know what I have that you don't? Friendship. Friendship is magic, Aldous. Don't you understand? It is. Now, for us to fight. Comic readies his magic, but Aldous punches him into a wall.
Oh, spare me the monologue.
You sly dog. You got me monologuing. Aldous and Comic punch each other a few times. Aldous knocks out a fang and pulls it out. He then plants a scar next to Comic's eye. Comic bites his hand, and Comic uses his magic to reattach his fangs to his mouth. Is that all you got?
Not even close.
Aldous shoots a blast of dark magic at Comic. Then Aldous rises, and dark magic is shown throughout his body. His eyes go red, and his teeth get sharp. He's gone completely insane at this point. You can't be changed now. That book has completely corrupted you. It's irreversible. I'm glad that never happened to me, but Comic grabs the book and puts a flame onto the ground and puts the book into the flames engulfing it. Aldous laughs.
I have it all memorized. You can't defeat me.
Aldous seemed like he was about to kill Comic, but then soldiers from Comic's divisions come in and surround him. We'll shoot on command, General Field. Comic then thought about it for a second. Contain him. What? But my general, I'd rather see him rot in prison than to see him die now. I am a changed pony. I can't let the death of my enemy corrupt me. That's what the book gave me the idea to do, but now I've changed. Contain him and take him to the royal dungeons. Her Majesty the Princess will decide his fate. The soldiers return to their homes. Shining flash parts and Comic take Aldous, who's been tied down with a face covering, to the Camelot courtroom. Princess Twilight Sparkle, what shall I do with him? General Comic said to spare him, but in the end, it's your decision as to whether he's executed or just put in dungeons. He said that killing an enemy shouldn't go to one's head. He's right. Lock him in the dungeons. His fate shall be life in prison. You are dismissed after he's imprisoned. They take him to the dungeon, the deepest cell, and drop him in there.
I will get out one day, and when I do, I will make your life a living hell.
Hilarious! Comic locks a cell and goes to Twilight. What now, Your Majesty? By grace of Celestia and Luna, Comic Field, I decree that you are now the High Chief Officer of the Royal Army. You are also rewarded with your own room in the palace. Your son has one, too. Yes, that is right. You're moving in. You're a hero, Comic. Comic goes into his room and checks it out. Meanwhile, in the Camelot Parliament building, the leaders of all the countries from Chapter 5 all meet with each other, and they declare a new world organization known as One Equus, One People, where they have different sets of rules of war, diplomacy, and the such. One Equus, One People would hopefully bring eternal peace to Equus. There are 13 member states of the organization, and they, of course, promise eternal peace. As for Comic, he is happy now, knowing that he is at peace as well. His wife may remain dead, but that is okay, because he knows he'll join her one day. He is now an equestrian hero, one who will die for his princess and his nation, the equestrian nation. Epilogue. Aftermath. Page Rider, the Prime Minister of Equestria, sits down and looks at some papers on his desk, mostly political papers about the current state of Equus. Spike walks in.
Hey, Mr. Prime Minister.
How many times have I told you not to call me that?
Did you hear about the news?
Page says he's aware. Spike said it was good news, but Page cut him off.
They won a battle. I'm not sure about the war. I think this is far from over. I know it is. It's like a hunch. I believe this is not the only army he had, and yet Aldi's just stays silent.
He's in prison. How would he get another army?
He studied all of that power in that book, and yet was tied up and brought here. What if he held back? What if he allowed himself to be captured on purpose? What if he was pretending? I have a feeling that he's growing in power. Maybe he's waiting to strike. He said he would kill Comic, but he shrugged it off.
He's insane.
Perhaps insane in power, but I would be a fool to not take him by his word. Don't you have anything to do, Spike, like eat gems or something, or flirt with Rarity?
Not right now. Try having a secret meeting with someone about something.
Never thought of her to be the secret type. Hell, not even my type.
Yeah, it's probably nothing. By the way, what are you working on?
Mostly some paperwork. Great idea for one Equus, one people, but only a few select nations are in it currently. My plans are to expand it as Prime Minister of the Equus superpower and all that.
This could be revolutionary.
Meanwhile, in the prison, Aldous is in a cell, painting some very violent pictures. What do you think he's painting? Oh no, I'm not Picasso. Aldous took no notice, and continues painting. Holy shit, it's freezing. The second guard goes to fix the AC. Great, now I'm here alone, cold, and the only thing I have to keep me company is that psychopath! He sees a bunch of roaches. Call the pesticide pony. He leaves the dungeon, and Aldous just chuckles.
'Tis but a small trick. Soon you'll know what true power really is.
Aldous chuckles, and the painting reveals the universe in eternal darkness.
And see what it really means to feel fear, if she figures out the rest.
Meanwhile, Cenaria, Aldous' girlfriend, is seeing him through a crystal ball.
Don't worry, Aldous, my love. You'll be freed very soon.
Cenaria sneaks into the Aquilian palace and murders King Morisset.
He must win.